Hi friends, my name is Chaitanya Patke and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to look at the preview of the third test which is going to take place at Indore of the Border Gavaskar series between India and Australia. Quite evidently, many people are predicting that yes, India are the favorites going into the third test match at the Holkar Stadium based on their dominant two performances in the first two test matches, especially after Australia capitulated after scoring 63 for 1. Their next 9 wickets came at the mere 52 runs in the second innings, giving India a comprehensive victory of 6 wickets in the second test at New Delhi. Lots of narratives to be looked at into both the teams. First of all, we will take a look at the visiting Australian team, which actually has been reeling with the withdrawal of their captain, Pat Cummins, who unfortunately has to fly back to Australia to take care of his ailing mother. We are all with him, and hopefully his mother recovers fully and he is back for the fourth test or for the ODI series, which is going to start from March the 17th. Nonetheless, the positive news for Australia is that their premier left-arm fast bowler, one of the best bowlers in the world, Mitchell Stark, is going to come back into the third test at the Holkar Stadium. As we know that he sustained a fracture which prevented him from taking part in both the test matches, but I think even though he didn't had a fracture, he wouldn't have played in the first two tests because captain Pat Cummins clearly went in with a strategy of three spinners and one fast bowler, which actually backfired. Another welcome addition to the squad is going to be Cameron Green, the explosive all-rounder. We all saw his talent during the short limited over series in October last year, one of the highest prizes in the IPL auction as well this year. So unfortunately he missed out due to injury as well, but his addition to the squad adds to the batting depth as well as his useful bowling at 140 plus. He has the tendency to bowl cutters as well, which can be exploited to a greater extent on the variable Indian pitches. Talking about the pitch first, instead of the Australian team, the pitch is going to assist spinners, although it has something in it in the morning session for the fast bowlers as well. According to my sources, the pitch is being watered down very nicely to maintain an even balance between bat and ball. So we will come to the analysis of the Australian team. David Warner has actually been left out of the series due to the elbow injury and the after effects of concussion which Mohammad Siraj gave him. Actually that could be a blessing in disguise for Australia. For a little while, we saw towards the end of the second day at the Delhi test, actually Travis Head counter-attacked brilliantly, 43 runs of 41 deliveries. So that was one of the most magnificent innings. Unfortunately, he couldn't carry on the third morning. That is a different matter altogether. But he showed good positive intent. His sweeping technique was good, which was comparatively very good as compared to the disastrous display the Australian batsman put in the third day's morning's play. Anyway, so Warner has a phenomenal batsman. I'm not doubting his capabilities or qualities as well, but historically he has struggled in the subcontinent, especially Sri Lanka and Pakistan as well, and his numbers are a little bit better in Bangladesh. But in India, he also struggled in the 2013 series as well as the 2017 series, if you might remember. So Ravichandran Ashwin made him his money, as well as Ravindra Jadeja also got him out numerous times over the course of two tours. So that is not going to be a problem. Travis Head is going to open in all likelihood. That is going to be the key for Australia as well as his own career, how Travis Head fares. We know the ability of Mitchell Stark, what he brings in, consistently balls in at 145 plus clicks, and his ability to reverse swing in this condition is going to be handy, especially if the ball gets old above 70 overs or 75 overs. Then he has also the ability to bowl a brilliant Yorker, irrespective of the condition of the match, whether in the morning or in the evening session. So Mitchell Stark always brings in that added factor, and he has that awe which very few fast bowlers in this generation unfortunately have. So these two additions are going to be crucial for Australia. It is also going to be very interesting to see how Steve Smith pans out. He is going to take over from Pat Cummins, and in the past interview he has mentioned that the captaincy actually brings out the best in him. The four innings, unfortunately, he has not been able to conjure up his old magic. With the addition of captaincy, who knows? As he said that he enjoys it, we might. My intuition is telling me that we are in for a great Steve Smith performance in this test match. That is not going to be an issue. As far as Australia is concerned, hopefully he turns up. Marnus Labuschagne, I think, is also due for a big performance. So we'll have to see where it goes and how. So we'll have to see how Marnus Labuschagne plays. He has also been very good against the spin as well. He employs the sweep shot to a greater effect. Sorry for that bit of trouble earlier. So Steve Smith, Marnus Labuschagne are going to be vital cogs in the field for Australia. A contribution from Alex Carey down the order is also very essential to come up with a decent score. If Australia bat first, at least 300 or 350 is a must. Alex Carey also needs to show that he has something else in his repertoire. We all know he plays the short ball very well. He has a great cut shot, but it was evident during the Delhi test that he concentrated only on sweeping because he didn't have much confidence in his defensive abilities. So batsmen actually visiting from Sena countries need to realize that they have to play the perfect defensive game as well as offensive game. They have to maintain that tightrope. What happens if you sweep? The Indian bowlers are very smart. Jadeja and Ashwin will eventually work you out. So is Akshar Patel. So you are in big trouble. Actually, I like the way how Usman Khwaja swept in the first innings of the Delhi Test, which was quite encouraging. Actually, he plays the reverse sweep very well if you have followed his career. But the sweep shot that he played in the second innings was quite uncharacteristic and it was disastrous. So he needs to avoid that. So sometimes what happens, your strength becomes your weakness. So we, as I said a few moments earlier, we need to find that perfect balance. So Australian batsmen are going to have to learn to do that. So Marnus Labuschagne and most importantly Steve Smith will be important. The start that Travis Head provides will be also essential in determining Australia's fortunes of how long the first innings last. Wherever the first inning is, if they win the toss, actually they are going to bat first, or even if they bat second. So and lower order contributions from Alex Carey as well as bowling from Mitchell Stark is going to be very important for Australia in this match. Murphy has impressed one and all, so has Nathan Lyon, who has bowled consistently when throughout. Whenever he has come India in both the tours in 13 and 17 and now 21, one of the greatest off spinners of his generation, second only to Ravichandran Ashwin in my humble opinion, or third if you consider Ravindra Jadeja as well, but that is going to be a long debate, will not go into that. So Australia will be expecting a fair free from them as well, and it is very essential that Australian batsmen, or most importantly their batsmen, don't listen to the former experts or opinions, because they have a detrimental effect. You are actually preparing for the test match, and right before the test match in the media you hear about your former players speaking about the deterioration of pitch, deterioration of this, that, the substandard pitches for test cricket. This is actually what happens, that it is the refuge of a scoundrel. You know, if they have no confidence in their abilities, they had Ian Healy actually before the start of the test series said that if there are even pitches, Australia is going to defeat India. How in the fucking hell he came up in that statement, God knows. Actually he might know his answer after the first two tests. His tone was pretty damning towards the Australian as well. So Australian media also needs to take into mind that the pitches are not the problem, the defective techniques of their batsmen are. If you remember, Mohammad Siraj actually hit David Warner with a bouncer in the first test match, actually, or the second test, and after that David Warner suffered concussion. So it is not that Pat Cummins does not bowl bouncers, or he does not have the ability to bowl the bouncers, but he actually lacked imagination, and he ran out of ideas due to the brilliance of Rohit Sharma in the first test match, and Indian batsman actually completely cowed him down in the second test. So the difference in skill set is very essential. It is not that our pitches are substandard, it is just that the batting technique until now has of the Australian batsman has been substandard and defective. So it's a humble request to Australian experts as well. So stop using using pitch as an excuse for defeat, saying that they are substandard pitches. No, your batsmen are substandard. Our pitches are perfectly well, and it is suited to our conditions. So naturally, we will exploit the home conditions. So there is nothing wrong in it. Although Coach Rahul Dravid has maintained a no interference policy, we all know how pitches are in the Indian subcontinent, and it should be like that. We shouldn't listen to any Western experts or opinion to do favor or to make a pitch that is a little bit favorable for the Australian or English batsman for that matter. So let me make that perfectly clear. And one more important thing, over the years, especially if you remember the 2004 tour when Australia beat India 2-1, actually their bowlers, fast bowlers, were very important. Shane Warne actually, despite the fact of his brilliance, played the secondary role. Michael Kaspovich, Jason Gillespie, Brett Lee all bowled actually at 145 plus clicks and rattled the Indian batsman. And even when the Indian batsmen were set in that series, they actually made effective uses of the cutter and slower deliveries, which were the undoing of Indian batsmen. So the role of fast bowlers in India is very underrated. If you know that Mohammad Shami is one of the best bowlers in the world going around, he took 3 wickets in the second Australian innings. In the first innings, I beg your pardon. So it shows that he has not decent, he has world class controls, I beg your pardon. And if you have the skills, you can still succeed despite the fact of being a fast bowler on Indian pitches. So that we clearly didn't see with Pat Cummins. Now I don't think that he was operating at 100% of his capacity. Maybe his mind may be elsewhere. It is completely understandable that once your mother is ill, it is very difficult to concentrate 100%. So actually he made a right decision of flying back to Australia. So whatever might be the reasons, I'm not saying that Mohammad Siraj is better than Pat Cummins. No, absolutely not. But Mohammad Siraj actually made better use of the pitch than Pat Cummins. That is a fact that no Australian cricket expert could hide. Coming to Team India, actually they have the conundrum of KL Rahul or Shubman Gill. I actually made a video on that. In all likelihood, Shubman Gill is going to play in place of KL Rahul. But if the team management decides to stick with KL Rahul, in my humble opinion, he should be given a chance. And it was quite evident yesterday as well. Rahul Dravid completely spent 45 minutes plus with KL Rahul to discuss his techniques. And both KL Rahul and Shubman Gill were batting simultaneously, although the conversation between KL Rahul and Rahul Dravid, our head coach, was between the two, and they were trying to sort out his technique and just mitigate the flaws that were evident to Rahul Dravid. So I don't know who is going to be preferred. India has actually removed KL Rahul as vice captain from the two tests, despite the fact that being named the two. So it will be interesting to see who plays. It will also be, I will also be very curiously looking forward to the fact that Virat Kohli has not scored a test 100 for almost 3.5 years now. Could Indore be the place? If you remember in 2016, along with Ajinkya Rahane, who scored 160 odd, Virat actually scored a double century. So this might be the place he breaks his test match century drought, which has been going on for far too long for a batsman of his caliber. Cheteshwar Pujara has found his footing in the Delhi test. Shrikar Bharat's keeping skills are also very good. And although I had a bit skepticism about his batting, he batted really well in the Delhi test in the second innings. As far as Shubman Gill is concerned, if he's given an opportunity, he is in the form of his life. So he will be looking forward to make the most of it. As far as bowlers are concerned, I think we should go in with an unchanged 11 with Akshar Patel, Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, the three spinners, along with Siraj and Mohammad Shami are bowlers. I think there is no need for Kuldeep Yadav to come in place of Siraj. I think that some experts are making an argument, but why tinker with a winning combination? So if we win this third test, which with all due respect to Australia, it is going to look like we are going to win it, then in the fourth stretches, due to workload management or something, we can think of giving Kuldeep Yadav a place instead of Mohammad Siraj, as Siraj has been named in the ODI squad as well, or in place of Mohammad Shami. That is up to the management. But all in all, it promises to be a good test match. I think Australia will perform better in the first two tests, but the outcome will be no different. India is going to win it, although my intuition is telling me that India is going to find it difficult to dislodge Australia in the third test, and Steve Smith will turn up, in my opinion. I think he deserves to have a good outing, but that will not have much of a change on the result of the outcome, as I said moments earlier. So, advantage India. I think this match is going to last for 4.5 days, or if Australia put up some fight with the bat, it can even go to the fifth day. But India is sure the favorite. So, how did you like my analysis of the or the preview of the third test? Please tell in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for further notifications. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, everyone, bye, and humbly requesting to you all, please subscribe once again.